murder, that's just not an option. I'm sorry, I have a problem with it, and I cannot accept it.
A dozen murders in Mexico. An informant on the U.S. payroll participates tonight. The News 8 investigation the government doesn't want you to see. It's a rarely seen look deep inside a Mexican drug cartel, a world of casual murder and treachery, and a world condoned and perpetuated by the U.S. government. Here's News 8's Byron Harris.
For more than a year, News 8 producer Mark Smith has been tracking the movements of a U.S. drug informant, a man who lived and acted as a henchman for a Mexican drug cartel while on the payroll of the federal government. Tonight, the story of Lalo, a tale the U.S. government does not want you to hear, as News 8 investigates. In a small-town jail in the upper Midwest, a prisoner secretly awaits what may be his death. He's not charged with a crime. He's not from Iowa or Indiana. He's from Mexico, a privileged drug spy who for 4 years moved freely across the U.S.-Mexico border between El Paso and Juarez, where killing and drug commerce are synonymous.
All the time, they are killing in private or in the street, just. They don't care. They don't really care.
Guillermo Ramirez Pero, nicknamed Lalo, is a former Mexican cop who turned to the drug trade, moved to Juarez, and became a classic double agent. He was paid thousands of dollars to bury bodies while working for a Mexican drug cartel. He was paid more than $224,000 working for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. He used to look like this. Today, he's 50 pounds lighter, fearful that his days are numbered. He says the same American agency that paid him wants to deport him back to Mexico and a certain death.
They say they are afraid they kill me here, but they want me to put there when they are sure they're gonna kill me.
Late January 2004.
In the backyard of this house, authorities are sifting through a mass grave.
A dozen bodies uncovered. The victims tortured and buried in the backyard of a cartel-owned duplex in Juarez. Most had their heads wrapped in plastic, their hands bound with duct tape, and were coated with quicklime to dissolve their flesh.
Some of them, you could tell the look on their faces, their eyes were open.
Patricia Garibay was among 50 families and friends who waited outside that day.
I believe that some of them were actually buried alive. I mean, the look on their face was horrible.
The trail of death leads to Lalo's American handlers. Memos indicate the U.S. government knew murders were planned maybe even days beforehand. One says Lalo supervised and participated in the first murder at the house. In an August 2003 murder, he advised the police to strangle rather than shoot a victim, was forced to assist in holding down the victim, and gave the killers a plastic bag to suffocate the victim.
When you infiltrate a cartel, yeah, everybody knows you have to go like what? Like a criminal. And we discuss that a lot of times, and they say, no, we understand.
Lalo even taped one murder and gave it to the government.
They knew what's going on all the time, because it's not a thing who happens in 1 week, yeah?
When asked what agencies knew about the murders,
the DEA, the Customs, and I think the FBI.
There had to be government responsibility there.
Attorney Mark Conrad, a customs agent for 27 years, says federal agents and their informants can't break the law to enforce the law.
Here you had, the beginning of a chain of events, one murder that led to ultimately 12 that we know of. I don't understand how it could happen.
The U.S. government is declining comment, saying the matter is under investigation.
The federal government is trying to protect the federal government. That's the first, second, third, and fourth priority here. Lalo is expendable.
I want the truth comes to the light.
The truth links Lalo to this lieutenant in the Juarez cartel who regularly called him to prepare for a so-called carne asada, the code word for murder. These days, Lalo identifies with all the corpses he helped bury. Last week, a former colleague was murdered in Juarez. Lalo fears that could be him.
I don't know if they're gonna keep me here for the rest of my life, or they're gonna I don't know what's gonna happen to me. Right now I'm just trying to say, hey, don't put me in the hands of the people who's gonna kill me. That's all.
Byron Harris, Channel 8 News.